protests against the horrific act would not have been as urgent and widespread if the virtual world had not woken up to the real one. Within hours of the rape, alerted by Facebook posts and Twitter, college students began assembling outside former Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit's residence.
शीला दीक्षित ने ये जो बात कही कि भाई ये डीटीसी बस में नहीं घटी, प्राइवेट बस में घटा, इसके लिए मेरी जिम्मेदारी क्या है? तो ये तो हम सिखाने आए हैं। कौन है ये लोग?
This speech by Kavita Krishnan of All India Progressive Women's Association went viral on YouTube and received over 65,000 hits. By the evening, as the crowds began to swell, the agitation shifted to India Gate.
There were a lot of support groups which came out. You were letting people know, go for protests here, what can you do, how is the government reacting. India Gate, in fact, you were getting live tweets at that time about what is happening, which would have never happened. You would have, the next day, you would have read some nonsense in the papers. I remember even news of all the politicians, none of them had gone to India Gate, but they'd all gone for a party at a certain PR person's house, and it just broke on Twitter, and you realize that they are busy socializing, but they can't come here. And the pressure that even forms on the government thanks to social media there's a very big change right now.
Attempts by mainstream political parties to join the protests were snubbed on the ground and online, even as the Justice for Nirbhaya movement found a new set of leaders.
Soon we found that we got messages after, people heard our speech and all of that, people heard about our campaign. We got messages on Facebook from women all over the country, especially young women, saying thank you for saying what we were feeling all along. And in the wake of every attack, every rape that is publicized, our parents start saying don't go out late at night, don't go on holiday, don't study far away from home, don't live in a hostel, etc., etc. Our hostel curfews start getting restricted. So women really wanted to raise their voices against these restrictions in the name of protection.
क्यों हनी सिंगल पहली बात तो ये जो तू इतनी गालियां बकता है माना ये सारी तेरी गंदी नजर की गलती है.
These students of the Lady Shri Ram College in Delhi say they joined the demonstrations to protect their freedom, carrying posters which reflected a new determination.
There were many interesting slogans. One was that if my skirt provokes you, your stupidity provokes me. There were other types like we want azadi from khap and baap. It's all about getting freedom from the parents and from the society and doing what you feel like.
Eventually, the state was forced to set up a panel under the former Supreme Court Chief Justice J.S. Verma to review laws on sexual harassment, which received nearly 80,000 suggestions.
I think post-December 16, one very positive role that social media played in bringing a lot of taboo topics like rape and sex. They were discussed in social media and then slowly got into people's conversations, into drawing rooms, and people started talking about that.
Some of the panel's recommendations were applauded by online users, others trashed it. For instance, the Verma Committee's advice on lowering the age of consent to 16 was damned by the self-appointed defenders of Bharatiya Sanskriti, convinced it would encourage young girls to have premarital sex. The social media turned into a battlefield between them and the others.
In retrospect, when I look back at the 1 year, then I find that that discourse of protection has actually been used in very dangerous ways against women's freedoms. For instance, we've seen how the anti-Dalit mobilization by the PMK party in Tamil Nadu, many of whom used Facebook pages and all of that, they have campaigned in the name of protecting middle caste girls from Dalit men who were painted as the sexual aggressors. And actually their attack was on consensual intercaste marriages. So this kind of politics, we have seen how it conflates the fear of rape.
Fueled by the media's social print and visual, public anger over the incidents in Delhi and Mumbai, where a young photojournalist was raped in August this year, forced the state to act. But many others believe little has changed on the ground in the past year.
In the sum total, if you take an assessment of, say, a year, I'm not sure at the end of it that the viewers and the readers of media have, first of all, understood why there is violence against women, have really understood whether there's been an increase, whether our public places have become unsafe, and certainly in terms of the law enforcement mechanism, which is what needs to be strengthened ultimately, for any kind of justice to be done. I'm not sure these things have got institutionalized, the exception does not make the rule. And just because in one or two instances, because of intense media attention, some justice was got, does not mean that on a day-to-day basis, tomorrow if a girl is raped, that she is necessarily going to get, the same kind of attention and treatment that the prosecution gave in the case of the Delhi or the Bombay rape.
Gradually, individuals and collectives across the country are accepting that it's not enough to be outraged and are beginning to take responsibility for what's wrong with our system and with us.